Some motorcycles are too powerful, some are too fast, and some are just too dangerous to exist. Today we're counting down 16 motorcycles that got banned, restricted, or became so infamous for accidents that they destroyed their own reputations. Stick around, because number one killed so many riders that insurance companies refuse to cover it. These aren't just powerful bikes. These are machines with fatal design flaws, mechanical issues, and engineering choices that turn them into death traps. This is a cautionary tale of what happens when performance overrides safety. Number 16, the Suzuki Hayabusa. The Hayabusa didn't get officially banned, but it came close. When it launched in 1999, it hit 194 miles per hour, making it the fastest production motorcycle ever. European governments panicked. They threatened legislation to ban bikes over 186 miles per hour. The entire motorcycle industry agreed to a gentleman's agreement limiting top speed to 186 to avoid government regulation. The problem wasn't just speed. The Hayabusa's design put 1,300 cubic centimeters and 175 horsepower in a package that looked like a sport tourer. Inexperienced riders bought them thinking they were getting a comfortable fast bike. The engine delivered brutal power with minimal warning. The throttle response was instant. Riders who weren't prepared for that power hit the gas, lost control, and crashed. Quick one. Should manufacturers limit top speed on production bikes? Let us know in the comments. The Hayabusa became infamous for high-speed crashes. Riders would hit 100+ miles per hour on public roads, lose control, and die. The bike wasn't inherently dangerous for experienced riders, but it was too much bike for the average buyer. Insurance companies started refusing coverage or charging insane premiums. The combination of extreme speed, heavy weight at 578 pounds, and a riding position that encouraged high-speed runs created a perfect storm. The brakes were adequate for normal riding, but overwhelmed at top speed. The aerodynamics were good but not perfect. At 186 miles per hour, a small head shake could become catastrophic. Suzuki revised the Hayabusa multiple times, adding better electronics, traction control, and ABS. The third generation from 2021 has sophisticated electronics that make it safer. But the damage to its reputation was done. The Hayabusa will forever be the bike that almost got motorcycles banned. The Hayabusa proves that speed alone can make a bike dangerous. It's not about bad engineering, it's about too much performance for public roads. But the Hayabusa just had too much speed. Number 12 had too much speed and a chassis that couldn't handle it. Number 15, the Kawasaki H2 Mach IV. The H2 from the 1970s earned the nickname Widowmaker. Kawasaki built a 748 cubic centimeters two-stroke triple that made 74 horsepower when competitors were making 50. It was violently fast for its era. The problem was everything. The two-stroke triple delivered power in a brutal, unpredictable surge. The frame was inadequate, flexible, and prone to wobbles at high speed. The brakes were a single front disc that couldn't stop the bike's performance. The handling was terrifying. The bike would weave and wobble under hard acceleration. The H2 killed dozens of riders in its first years. Inexperienced riders bought them, twisted the throttle, and the bike would wheelie uncontrollably, weave violently, or just crash because the brakes couldn't stop it. Insurance companies started blacklisting the model, and the two-stroke power band was unpredictable. Below 5,000 revolutions per minute, the bike was docile. Above 6,000 RPM, it transformed into a beast that delivered power so suddenly that riders lost control. The chassis couldn't handle the power. The flexing frame created speed wobbles. The front brake would fade after hard use. Kawasaki discontinued the H2 and redesigned their approach. They learned that chassis development had to match engine performance. The H2 became a legend, but also a warning about what happens when you put too much power in an inadequate chassis. The H2 is the original Widowmaker. It taught the industry that power without proper chassis and brakes kills riders. Number 14, the Suzuki GT750. The The GT750 was Suzuki's answer to the Kawasaki H2. They built a 738 cubic centimeters two-stroke triple that was supposed to be the civilized alternative. It wasn't. The GT750 used liquid cooling, which was advanced for the 1970s. But the cooling system was problematic. Overheating was common. The engine would seize if the cooling system failed. The two-stroke design meant terrible fuel economy and constant oil consumption. If you're learning about dangerous bikes, hit like so we know to make part 2. The GT750 didn't kill as many riders as the H2, but it stranded plenty. Riders would be cruising, the cooling system would fail, and the engine would seize, locking the rear wheel. At highway speeds, a locked rear wheel means a crash. The electrical system was unreliable, causing failures at inopportune moments. The cooling system, complexity, introduced failure points. The two-stroke engine required precise oil mixture. If owners used the wrong oil or neglected maintenance, the engine would destroy itself. The weight at 526 pounds made it heavy for a two-stroke, compromising handling. Suzuki discontinued the GT750 in 1977. They moved to four-stroke designs that were more reliable. The GT750 became a cautionary tale about overcomplicating two-stroke designs. The GT750 proves that advanced technology doesn't matter if it's not reliable. Number 13. The Yamaha RZ500. The RZ500 was a two-stroke V4 that Yamaha built for racing homologation. It made 88 horsepower from 499 cubic centimeters. It was insanely powerful for a 500 cubic centimeter bike. The power delivery was psychotic. The V4 two-stroke delivered power in a violent surge above 7,000 revolutions per minute. The chassis was race spec, which meant it was twitchy and unforgiving on the street. The brakes were adequate for the track but marginal for street use. The RZ500 killed young riders who bought them thinking they were getting a small, manageable bike. The 500 cubic centimeters displacement seemed reasonable, but the actual power was superbike level. Riders would hit the power band, the front wheel would lift, and they'd crash. The two-stroke power band was abrupt. Modern bikes have progressive power delivery. The RZ500 had nothing below 6,000 revolutions per minute, then everything above 7,000. The transition was violent. The race-bred chassis was unstable on bumpy streets. The suspension was harsh. Yamaha never officially imported the RZ500 to the United States, partially due to emissions, but also due to liability concerns. The bikes that made it to the US were gray market imports. Clean examples are now collectible, but the bike's reputation as a killer remains. The RZ500 is the two-stroke V4 that was too extreme for public roads. Number 12. The Honda CBR 1100X X Super Blackbird. The Super Blackbird was Honda's attempt to build the fastest motorcycle in the world. It succeeded, hitting 192 miles per hour and dethroning the Hayabusa briefly. Then the Hayabusa got faster, and the speed war escalated. The Blackbird's problem was similar to the Hayabusa. It put 1,100 cubic centimeters and 164 horsepower in a package that looked reasonable. The riding position was comfortable, not aggressive. This encouraged riders to treat it like a sport tourer when it was actually a missile. The Blackbird killed riders who underestimated it. The fuel-injected engine delivered smooth, deceptive power. Riders would be cruising at 80 miles per hour, twist the throttle, and suddenly they're at 140. The bike felt stable at those speeds, which encouraged reckless behavior. The combination of top speed, comfortable ergonomics, and smooth power delivery created false confidence. Riders felt in control at speeds where they weren't. The brakes were good, but not exceptional. The linked braking system was controversial. Some riders found it unpredictable. Honda discontinued the Super Blackbird in 2007. It became obsolete as leader-class superbikes got faster and electronics improved. The Blackbird remains a cult classic, but its reputation as a high-speed killer persists. The Super Blackbird proves that comfortable speed is the most dangerous kind. Number 11. The Kawasaki Ninja ZX14R. The ZX14R was Kawasaki's answer to the Hayabusa. It packed 1,352 cubic centimeters and 208 horsepower. It was designed for one thing: going stupid fast in a straight line. The ZX14R was too powerful for its own good. The traction control on early models was basic. The electronics couldn't save riders from their own stupidity. The bike was long and heavy at 600 pounds, making it unwieldy at low speeds. Want more videos about infamous motorcycles? Subscribe, and we'll keep them coming. The ZX14R became infamous for high-speed crashes on highways. Riders would hit 150 plus miles per hour, encounter traffic or road debris, and crash fatally. The bike's speed capability far exceeded the skill of average riders, when the power delivery was deceptively smooth. Modern fuel injection made 208 horsepower feel manageable. Riders would underestimate how fast they were going. The weight made emergency maneuvering difficult. The brakes were strong but required skill to use properly at high speed. Kawasaki updated the ZX14R with better electronics, but eventually discontinued it as the market shifted to leader-class superbikes with better electronics. The bike's reputation as a straight-line missile that kills riders remains. The ZX14R is too much power in a package that encourages misuse. Kawasaki built a straight-line missile, but number 8 proves that modern bikes can be even more dangerous with superchargers. Number 10. The Buell 1125R. The Buell 1125R was Eric Buell's attempt to build an American superbike. It featured radical engineering: perimeter brake rotors, fuel in the frame, oil in the swing arm. It was innovative and deeply flawed. The Helicon engine from Rotax was powerful, but prone to catastrophic failures. The primary belt drive would fail without warning, locking the rear wheel. The fuel and frame design meant that a crash could rupture the frame and ignite fuel. The perimeter brake rotors were innovative, but hard to service. The 1125R had multiple recalls for belt drive failures. Riders reported the rear wheel locking at speed when the belt failed. Several fatal crashes were attributed to this failure. The fuel system design led to severe burns and crashes. The belt drive primary was a single point of failure. When it failed, the rear wheel locked instantly. No warning, no gradual failure, just immediate lockup. At highway speeds, this meant an inevitable crash. The fuel and frame design turned crashes into fire hazards. Buell went out of business in 2009, partially due to the 1125R's problems. The recalls damaged the brand's reputation. Eric Buell started a new company, but the 1125R remains a cautionary tale about radical engineering without adequate testing. The Buell 1125R proves that innovation can be dangerous when reliability is sacrificed. Number 9. The Yamaha FZR 1000 EXUP. The FZR 1000 EXUP from the late 1980s was Yamaha's flagship superbike. It made 125 horsepower and was brutally fast for its era. It also had terrible handling characteristics. The FZR 1000 had a flexible frame that created high-speed wobbles. The suspension was race-oriented, which meant it was harsh and unforgiving on street use. The Genesis engine delivered power in a way that encouraged wheelies and loss of control. The FZR 1000 killed young riders throughout the 1990s. Insurance companies blacklisted it. Riders would accelerate hard, the front wheel would lift, they'd panic and chop the throttle, and the bike would tank slap and crash. The combination of powerful engine, flexible frame, and race suspension created a bike that was fast but unstable. The chassis would flex under hard acceleration, creating weaving. At high speeds, bumps would trigger wobbles. The brake setup was adequate, but not exceptional. Yamaha updated the FZR with stiffer frames and better suspension. Eventually, they replaced it with a YZF-R series, which had better chassis engineering. The FZR 1000 remains infamous as a fast but dangerous superbike. The FZR 1000 proves that power needs a proper chassis to be safe. Number 8. The Kawasaki Ninja H2R. The H2R is a modern bike, but it's banned from street use worldwide. It's a supercharged, track-only motorcycle making over 310 horsepower. It's too dangerous for public roads. The H2R isn't flawed engineering. It's intentionally extreme. The problem is that it exists. The supercharged engine delivers power that exceeds the capability of most riders. The aerodynamic wings generate downforce, but at street speeds they're ineffective. The bike is designed for closed circuits. What's the most dangerous bike you've ever ridden? Drop a comment and share your story. Because it's track only, the H2R has a limited accident record on streets. But track day crashes are common. Riders underestimate 300 plus horsepower and crash. The bike accelerates so violently that traction control can't always save you. 310 horsepower is too much for almost any rider to use safely, and the bike hits 60 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. The acceleration is violent enough to break traction even with modern tires. The top speed exceeds 249 miles per hour in ideal conditions. Kawasaki continues producing the H2R for track use. They also make the street-legal H2, which is detuned to 228 horsepower. The H2R remains banned from street use globally, making it the modern bike too dangerous for public roads. The H2R is proof that motorcycles can be too powerful for street use. But raw power isn't the only danger. Number 5 proves that beautiful bikes can be just as deadly when they attract the wrong riders. Number 7. The Suzuki TL1000S. The TL1000S was Suzuki's attempt at a superbike using a V-twin engine. It launched in 1997 and immediately earned a reputation as a killer. Riders called it the Widowmaker of the 1990s. The TL1000S used a rotary rear damper instead of a traditional shock. This experimental suspension design was unpredictable. The bike would suddenly swap ends and corners with no warning. The chassis was inadequate for the engine's power. The V-twin delivered torque in a way that overwhelmed the chassis. The TL1000S killed dozens of riders in its first 2 years. The bike would be stable in a corner, then suddenly tank slap and crash. Experienced riders reported terrifying moments where the bike would swap ends without warning. Insurance companies refused coverage. The rotary damper was innovative but flawed. It didn't provide consistent damping. The bike would feel stable, then suddenly the rear would oscillate. The chassis flex combined with the unpredictable suspension created a bike that could lose control without warning. The engine's torque delivery made it worse. Suzuki recalled the TL1000S and redesigned the suspension. They released the TL1000R with a traditional shock, which was safer. But the damage was done. The TL1000S remains one of the most infamous motorcycles ever built. Clean examples are cheap because riders are scared of them. The TL1000S proves that experimental engineering can kill riders. Number 6. The Honda V-FR 750 FRC30. Wait, the RC30? That's a legendary superbike. Yes, but it's also dangerous in the wrong hands. The RC30 was a homologation special for racing. It cost $15,000 in 1990, which is about $35,000 today. The RC30 was a race bike with lights. The problem was that inexperienced riders bought them for street use. The single-sided swing arm looked exotic. The V4 engine made 112 horsepower, but the chassis was race spec, meaning it was unforgiving. The RC30 killed riders who couldn't handle a race bike on the street. The suspension was stiff, making the bike unstable on bumpy roads. The brakes required skill to use properly. The riding position was aggressive, causing fatigue. Riders would crash because they couldn't handle the race-bred dynamics. The RC30 isn't inherently dangerous for skilled riders. The problem is, it's a race bike sold for street use. The suspension is too stiff for street bumps. The brakes are powerful, but require proper technique. And the chassis is twitchy compared to street bikes. Put a novice on this bike, and crashes happen. The RC30 became collectible, with prices now exceeding $100,000. But during its production years, it crashed frequently because riders bought a race bike they couldn't handle. It's a reminder that homologation specials are dangerous in untrained hands. The RC30 proves that race bikes belong on the track, not the street. Number 5. The Ducati 916. The 916 is iconic, beautiful, and responsible for countless crashes. Ducati built a superbike that looks so good that riders bought them without having the skill to ride them. The 916 wasn't badly engineered. The problem was the riding position. The clip-on handlebars were extremely low. The foot pegs were high. The seat was narrow and slippery. This created a riding position that was exhausting on the street. Fatigued riders make mistakes. The 916 killed riders who were tired. The aggressive riding position caused fatigue, which led to mistakes. Riders would be exhausted after an hour, lose concentration, and crash. The dry clutch was grabby, causing low-speed drops. The desmodromic valve design required expensive maintenance that owners skipped, leading to failures. The combination of aggressive ergonomics, grabby clutch, and expensive maintenance created danger. Tired riders make mistakes. Neglected maintenance leads to mechanical failures. The bike's beauty attracted riders who weren't skilled enough to handle a pure superbike. Ducati continued the design with the 998 and later models, gradually making ergonomics more street-friendly. But the 916-era bikes remain infamous for crashes caused by fatigue and mechanical neglect. Clean examples are valuable but require significant maintenance knowledge. The 916 proves that beauty can be dangerous when it attracts unqualified riders. At least the 916 was well engineered. Number 3 was so badly designed it nearly destroyed an entire company. Number 4. The Aprilia RSV Mille. The RSV Mille was Aprilia's flagship V-twin superbike. It was fast, beautiful, and plagued by electrical and mechanical problems that caused crashes. The RSV Mille had notorious electrical problems. The charging system would fail, leaving riders stranded. Worse, the electrical failures would happen while riding, causing the engine to cut out. The throttle position sensor would fail, causing sudden power loss. The fuel pump would fail without warning. The RSV Mille caused crashes when the electrical system failed mid-ride. Riders reported the engine cutting out in corners, causing loss of control. The throttle position sensor failure would cause sudden power loss during acceleration. The fuel pump failures would starve the engine at critical moments. Electrical failures while riding are catastrophic. If the engine cuts out in a corner, you lose engine braking and stability. If the throttle sensor fails during acceleration, the sudden power loss can cause a crash. The Italian electrical systems were notoriously unreliable in the late 1990s. Aprilia improved the electrical systems in later models, but the early RSV Mille bikes from 1998 to 2003 remain problematic. Owners must upgrade the electrical system to make them reliable. Clean examples are cheap because of the electrical reputation. The RSV Mille proves that unreliable electronics kill riders. If you're learning about motorcycle safety, throttle that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. We're bringing you cautionary tales every week. Number 3. The Bimota V-Due. The V-Due is the biggest motorcycle disaster in history. Bimota tried to build a two-stroke V-twin superbike in 1997. It was supposed to be revolutionary. Instead, it nearly destroyed the company. Everything was wrong. The direct fuel injection system didn't work. The engine would run on one cylinder randomly. The fuel injection would flood the engine. The electronics were inadequate. The build quality was terrible. Bikes were delivered that literally didn't run. The V-Due didn't kill many riders because most of them didn't run long enough to crash. The few that did run had catastrophic engine failures. The fuel injection would fail, causing sudden power loss. Engines would seize without warning. The unreliability made it impossible to ride with confidence. A motorcycle that doesn't run reliably is inherently dangerous. You can't predict when it will fail. The V-Due would run fine, then suddenly lose power. In traffic or corners, this could cause crashes. The engine seizures could lock the rear wheel. Bimota tried to fix the V-Due but couldn't. They offered refunds to buyers. The bike nearly bankrupted the company. Only about 500 were built, and most don't run properly even today. The V-Due is a legendary failure. The bike's so bad it destroyed a manufacturer's reputation. The V-Due proves that unreliability is the ultimate danger. But the V-Due was just unreliable. Number one was so dangerous that insurance companies actually refused to cover it at any price. Number two, the Honda CBR 900R R Fireblade, early models. The original Fireblade from 1992 revolutionized superbikes. It put leader bike power in a 600-weight chassis. It was brilliant engineering and devastatingly dangerous in untrained hands. The Fireblade wasn't flawed. The problem was the concept. Putting leader bike power in a lightweight chassis created a bike that was too easy to ride fast. The bike felt manageable at legal speeds, which encouraged reckless riding. The lightweight made it twitchy at high speed. The Fireblade killed more riders than almost any other superbike of its era. Young riders bought them, felt confident because the bike was light and manageable, and then crashed at high speeds. The bike's capability far exceeded the skill of most buyers. Insurance companies blacklisted it. The Fireblade made going fast too easy. The lightweight made acceleration feel effortless. Riders would reach 100+ miles per hour without realizing it. The bike felt stable up to a point, then became twitchy. The brakes were good, but not exceptional for the performance. Honda updated the Fireblade continuously, adding better electronics and improving stability. Modern Fireblades are safer with traction control and ABS. But the early models from 1992 to 2000 remain infamous for killing young riders who underestimated their capability. And the Fireblade proves that making speed too accessible is dangerous. Number 1. The Kawasaki H2 Mach IV 750. Yes, it's back. The H2 Mach IV isn't just dangerous, it's the bike that insurance companies actually banned. In the 1970s, multiple insurance companies refused to cover H2 riders at any price. It killed so many people that it became uninsurable. Every aspect of the H2 was wrong for its time. The two-stroke triple made 74 horsepower when most bikes made 50. The frame was flexing steel tube. The front brake was a single disc that faded immediately. The handling was terrifying. The bike would weave violently under acceleration. Conservative estimates suggest the H2 killed hundreds of riders worldwide in its production years from 1972 to 1975. The actual number is unknown because many crashes weren't attributed to mechanical issues. Riders would accelerate, the bike would weave, they'd panic, chop the throttle, and the tank slap would throw them off. The two-stroke power band was catastrophic. Below 5,000 revolutions per minute, nothing. Above 6,000 revolutions per minute, violent power that would lift the front wheel and weave the chassis. The frame couldn't handle the stress. The single front brake would fade after one hard stop. The drum rear brake was useless. The H2 combined multiple fatal flaws: unpredictable power delivery, plus inadequate chassis, plus terrible brakes equals death. The bike would accelerate violently. The chassis would flex and weave. The rider would panic and brake, but the brakes wouldn't stop it. Crashes were inevitable. The H2 Mach IV is why the motorcycle industry started focusing on chassis and brake development. It's why we have proper testing standards. It's why insurance companies started classifying bikes by power and accident records. The H2 changed the industry because it killed so many riders. Kawasaki discontinued it and completely redesigned their approach. They learned that raw power without proper engineering kills customers. The H2 remains the most dangerous production motorcycle ever built. Clean examples are valuable as collector's items, but riding one is genuinely dangerous even today. The Kawasaki H2 Mach IV is number one because it represents everything that can go wrong. It's the bike that almost destroyed a manufacturer's reputation, that insurance companies banned, and that killed hundreds. It's the ultimate cautionary tale of what happens when performance overrides safety, when marketing overrides the engineering, and when speed matters more than survival. Click the next video to continue the road trip. Join our tribe by subscribing. And if you want to support our channel and have early access on the newest videos, become a member. And don't forget to like this video.